For the longest time, I believed I was the kind of husband a woman could count on. The kind who didn't let suspicion cloud love. I trusted easily, believed in giving people the benefit of the doubt. I never felt the urge to dig through my wife's phone or interrogate her about her whereabouts. To me, love meant freedom rooted in trust, and I thought that was enough. Vanessa, my wife, wasn't cruel or malicious. In fact, she had a magnetic energy, vibrant, engaging, full of charm. But she carried within her a tendency I had dismissed for years. She liked to push, to see how far boundaries could be bent before they snapped. It began with little things, impulsive purchases we didn't need, late nights that went unexplained. I brushed them off as harmless quirks. Nothing serious, I told myself. Not worth conflict. But sometimes, there was a glint in her eyes, a silent dare. As if she was testing me, measuring my silence, waiting to see if I'd finally speak up for myself. Then came Jake. I'd met men like him before. The ones who lurk quietly under the label of friend. Jake, she said, was just that, an old friend. But he wasn't just anyone. He was her ex. And no matter how far back that label went, I knew something that too many ignore. Men like Jake never really go away. They wait. They play the role. They hover in the background, dressed up as supportive confidants, patient and opportunistic. I told Vanessa, more than once, that I didn't feel right about him. I wasn't jealous. I wasn't paranoid. I was observant. I could see what she refused to, or chose not to admit. But every time I brought it up, she dismissed my concern with the same tired lines. You're overthinking, she'd say. Jake's like family now. Stop being insecure, Richard. And because I loved her, I swallowed my discomfort. I let it go. Again. And again. And again. But trust has its limits, and she was about to find mine. It was an ordinary evening. We were lounging in the living room, some sitcom murmuring in the background. Vanessa sat beside me, scrolling through her phone, recounting her day in that casual, airy way of hers. That's when she said it, casually, like it meant nothing. Some of my old friends are planning a trip. Just a weekend getaway. They rented a beach house in the Bahamas. Should be fun, nothing serious, just relaxing, catching up. It sounded harmless enough. I'd never tried to control where she went or who she spent time with. Our marriage had always been built on mutual independence, two people living their own lives while sharing them. But then came the real message. Jake's going to. Just like that. A simple name, but not a simple moment. She said it with a pause. Like she was studying me, waiting to see if I'd flinch, challenge her, tell her she couldn't go. She was testing me, again. And she was hoping I'd take the bait. I didn't. Not this time. For years, I had voiced my concerns. Not from jealousy, from clarity. I knew what Jake was, and I was done pretending otherwise. But instead of reacting the way she expected, I remained calm. No lectures. No reminders. No rehashing old warnings. I just looked at her and said with quiet finality, if you go, don't come back. She blinked, surprised. Then scoffed. God, Richard. You're being ridiculous, she laughed, rolling her eyes like I'd just told a bad joke. Then came the script, the same one I'd heard countless times before. You're overreacting. Jake's just a friend. You really need to stop being so insecure. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I didn't explain. Do what you want, I said. And I meant it. She thought I was bluffing. She always did. What she didn't realize was that this time, I was done playing. On the morning of her departure, she moved around the house like nothing had changed. She hummed to herself as she packed, folding her clothes carefully, phone lighting up with messages, probably updates from the group chat. Every so often, she glanced at me, waiting for a reaction. For a last-minute protest. She got none. When she was ready, she rolled her suitcase to the door, came over, and gave me a quick kiss on the cheek. Love you, she said lightly, brushing off everything I'd told her 2 days earlier. Then she grabbed her keys and left. I didn't say a word. I just watched through the window as she loaded her bag into the trunk of the waiting taxi, climbed into the front seat, and drove away. The second she was gone, I picked up my phone. It was time to move. I stood, exhaled slowly, and got to work. I had already made up my mind. Now, I would follow through. First came the locks. I had booked a locksmith the day before, just in case she called my bluff. Within an hour, every lock in the house was changed. The keys in Vanessa's purse were worthless now. She would return to find the door closed, literally and figuratively. Next, her belongings. I walked into the bedroom, over to her side of the closet. Her vanity was still cluttered with perfumes. Her drawers filled with neatly arranged clothes. One by one, I packed it all, her dresses, her shoes, her makeup. Everything that belonged to her was boxed and labeled, ready to be shipped to her parents' home. She would walk into a life she no longer recognized, because it no longer belonged to her. I didn't want to leave her any excuse to return, not even for a forgotten scarf or old hoodie. That's why the final step was critical. The divorce. I picked up my phone and called my attorney. "I'm ready," I said. "Let's make it official." There was no shakiness in my voice. No hesitation. No second thoughts. This wasn't some emotional outburst or hollow warning. It was a firm decision, one long overdue. 4 years, Vanessa believed she could bend the rules, press the edges, and I'd always come back around. She thought she had me figured out. I'd grumble, give her the cold shoulder for a while, but eventually, I'd cave. But this wasn't like the other times. I wasn't angry. I was finished. The rest of that day, I moved around the house with a quiet sense of clarity. The space we once shared no longer felt like a shared life. It felt unburdened. Lighter. Freed from the weight of all the ignored red flags, the times I told myself to stay calm when I should have spoken up. That night, as I lay in bed, I felt something I hadn't in a long while: peace. Vanessa thought she was heading off for a carefree weekend. She had no idea that when she returned, the world she knew would be gone. She made her decision. Now, she'd face the cost. In the days after she left, I barely gave her a second thought. As far as I was concerned, she belonged to the past now. My choices were made. The actions set in motion. My focus was forward, not back. I figured she was still in that beach house, laughing with old friends, sipping drinks, oblivious to what awaited her. But then, on the 4th day, 3 days ahead of schedule, she came back. The first sign was a push notification on my phone. The front door camera had picked up movement. I tapped the live feed. There she was. Vanessa stood on the porch with her bags at her feet, looking relaxed, casual, as if nothing had changed. She reached for the doorknob and twisted. It didn't move. Her brow furrowed. She tried again. And again. A 4th time. I watched through the screen as her face changed, confusion setting in, then realization. She leaned closer, inspecting the lock. That's when it hit her. The locks were changed. She grabbed her phone, and within seconds, mine began to ring. I let it buzz a few times before answering. "Richard," she said, her voice already unsteady. "The door won't open." I kept my tone even and cold. "That's because you don't live here anymore." Silence followed. I could hear her breathing, shallow, uneven, like she was trying to make sense of what I'd just told her. "Your stuff's at your parents' place," I added. "Expect the divorce papers soon." Still silence. Then her voice came back, shaky, urgent. "Richard, wait, please. Let me just..." I hung up before she could finish. Seconds later, my phone lit up again. Her name flashed on the screen. Once. Twice. 3 times. I ignored them all. Then the messages started. "Richard, please talk to me. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. It's not what you think. Please." I stared at the screen as the notifications kept piling up. But I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel grief. I felt nothing. This was the same woman who had mocked me when I asked her not to go, who had kissed me goodbye with full confidence that I wouldn't act. And now, here she was, pleading. Another message came through. "Please pick up. There's something I need to explain." I checked the camera again. Vanessa was pacing the porch now, face flushed, hands trembling. She looked rattled, tugging at her hair, moving in frantic circles, probably trying to figure out how things had unraveled so quickly. Then the messages stopped. A voice note came through instead. I hesitated, then pressed play. Her voice filled the room, raw, trembling. Richard, please. Please just listen. You were right about Jake. I should have believed you. I didn't think this would happen. She paused, trying to breathe. I drank too much. And when I woke up, something happened. Jake recorded it. He's threatening to use it against me. I could hear her breath catching, the panic rising in every syllable. I didn't want it to come out like this. I didn't know what to do. Please. I need you. I sat in silence, listening to her fear echo off the walls. She wasn't just sorry. She was terrified. Jake, the man she had defended so fiercely, had turned on her. And now, she was hoping I'd be the one to help her clean up the mess. Once, maybe, I would have. Once, I might have believed that love meant second chances. But that man, the one who ignored his instincts, who allowed himself to be dismissed, was gone. I typed one final reply. Enjoy your life, Vanessa. You made your decision. Now live with it. Then I blocked her. That was the end. The final page in a story I should have closed long ago. I never looked back. Never checked in. Never asked how she was doing. She had spent years testing my boundaries, confident that I'd always forgive. She was wrong. From what I later heard, her world unraveled quickly. Her parents were furious. They didn't know all the details, but they understood enough that she'd walked away from a good marriage and ignored the one clear warning I gave. Her father had always respected me, saw me as the kind of man who protected and provided. And now he was stuck picking up the pieces because his daughter had nowhere else to go. Her friends. A few reached out. She's sorry. Don't throw it all away over one mistake. At least hear her out. I ignored every one of them. They didn't have to live with the betrayal. I did. As for Jake, the moment things got serious, he disappeared. The second Vanessa mentioned the video and what it could mean, he vanished. No more calls. No more replies. He left her stranded, betrayed by the same man she had risked everything for. And so, she was left with nothing. No partner. No safety net. No dignity. Meanwhile, I moved forward. Focused on work. On building a future. I didn't waste time wondering if she regretted it. Deep down, I already knew the answer. Some mistakes can't be undone. Some decisions come with a cost you can't take back. Vanessa thought I was making threats. She didn't realize I was drawing a line. Some lessons in life come gently, a whisper, a nudge. Others arrive like an earthquake, shattering what you thought was solid ground. This isn't just a story about betrayal. It's a story about limits, about knowing when to stop forgiving, and when to finally choose yourself. For years, I convinced myself that trust meant looking away. That love meant patience, even when it was used against me. But real love and real self-worth require boundaries. And boundaries aren't flexible. Vanessa thought she could test me forever. That my limits were negotiable. That I would always fold. But when someone shows you, again and again, that they don't value you, the strongest thing you can do is walk away. Have you ever had to draw a line someone kept crossing? Did you reach a moment where enough was finally enough? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your story. Until next time, take care. And remember, knowing your worth isn't just about how much you're willing to give. It's about knowing what you'll never accept again.